I never thought the day would come when my own sister would stand in my daughter's bedroom and demand that she give it up. But that is exactly what happened last Saturday in front of 12 guests, during what was supposed to be a casual housewarming gathering. The way the afternoon unfolded after that moment is something I still think about, because it changed the way everyone in my family sees my daughter forever. Let me start from the beginning, because none of this makes sense without understanding who my sister is and how she has always seen herself in relation to everyone around her. My sister Diane is 2 years older than me. She married young, had 3 children by the time she was 28, and spent the next decade making sure every single person in our family understood just how hard her life was. She was the martyr, the one who sacrificed everything, the one who gave up her dreams to raise her kids. Because of that, she believed, truly believed, that everyone else owed her something. Sympathy, gratitude, comfort, space. Everything. When I had my daughter Lily, things shifted slightly. Diane was no longer the only mother in the family. But she never saw Lily as anything more than a quiet, soft-spoken little girl who followed adults around and smiled politely. To Diane, Lily was harmless. Invisible almost. And that suited Diane just fine. What Diane never paid attention to was what Lily was doing when she was not at family gatherings. She was competing. Lily started gymnastics when she was 6. Not recreational gymnastics, competitive gymnastics. The kind that requires early mornings, long practices, and a level of focus most adults cannot sustain. By the time she was 8, she was placing in regional competitions. By 9, she had qualified for state. By 10, she had won her first national junior title. I kept most of this quiet, not because I was hiding it, but because Lily herself never wanted to talk about it at family dinners. She was not the kind of child who needed validation from others. She earned her trophies, put them on her shelf, and moved on to the next goal. When family members asked what she did for fun, she would shrug and say, "I train." And that was the end of the conversation for her. The prize money was the part that surprised even me. Gymnastics competitions at the national level carry real payouts for top finishers. Regional golds typically come with anywhere from $200 to $500, depending on the organization and the level of competition. National titles pay significantly more. It is not life-changing money for an adult, but for an 11-year-old with no expenses and no desire to spend money on clothes, gadgets, or anything else her peers were obsessed with, it accumulated quietly and steadily over the years. Lily kept track of every dollar in a small notebook she stored in her desk drawer. She knew exactly how much she had earned, exactly how much she had spent, and exactly how much was left. With a stubbornness I can only describe as remarkable, she decided she wanted to use that money herself on her own terms, for something that was entirely hers. She asked me at age 9 if she could design her own bedroom. Not redecorate, design. From scratch. I said yes, mostly because I wanted to see what she would do. What she did was research paint colors, furniture layouts, lighting options, and storage solutions for weeks. He came to me with a printed budget. She compared prices online. She made decisions with a seriousness that made me laugh and cry at the same time. When it was finished, her room looked like something out of a magazine. Clean lines, soft colors, a reading nook she built herself with help from a local carpenter, and a trophy cabinet she designed to display every single award she had ever won. By any standard, it was a beautiful room. And it was entirely hers, paid for entirely by her. Now about the house tour. I had just moved into a new place, nothing extravagant. A 3-bedroom house in a quiet neighborhood, the kind of place families move into when they want stability and good schools. I invited family over for a casual Saturday afternoon to see the place. Diane came with her husband and their 3 kids, ages 7, 9, and 12. My parents came. A few cousins. It was meant to be relaxed. Food, drinks, people walking through the rooms and saying nice things. Everything was fine until someone suggested we all walk through the house together. My parents went first, commenting on the kitchen and living room. My father noted the quality of the countertops. My mother asked about the neighborhood and nearby school district. Diane trailed behind, already scanning everything with that particular expression she gets when she is calculating how something compares to her own life. Her kids ran ahead, barely looking at anything. Lily walked beside me, quiet as always, hands in her pockets. She had already seen the floor plan before I signed the lease and had opinions about the layout that turned out to be remarkably practical. We reached the hallway where the bedrooms were. My room was first, simple and functional. A bed, a dresser, a nightstand with a lamp. Then the guest room. Diane glanced into it briefly, noted its plainness and moved on without comment. Then at the end of the hall, Lily's room. I opened the door. The room caught the afternoon light in a way that made it glow. The reading nook was visible from the doorway, tucked under a window with soft cushions and a stack of books. The trophy cabinet stood along one wall, glass-fronted, each award visible and neatly arranged. The bed was made with precision. The whole space felt calm and intentional, like a place someone genuinely lived and thought in. There was a brief silence as people took it in. Then Diane spoke. "This is ridiculous," she said, not quietly. Her voice carried the way it always does when she wants to be heard. "Your daughter gets a room like this? My kids share a room that is half this size. This is completely unfair." I opened my mouth to respond, but Diane was already moving forward. "She needs to switch," Diane continued, turning to me with the kind of firmness she usually reserves for arguments she has already decided she is going to win. "Lily should take the smaller room. My kids need more space. You can rearrange things." The room went quiet. My parents exchanged a glance. The cousins looked at the floor. Diane's husband shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. He almost never does. Lily, who had been standing quietly near the door, looked up at Diane. She did not look angry. She did not look hurt. If anything, she looked mildly amused, like someone who had just been told something that did not apply to her. "I designed this room," Lily said. Her voice was calm and even. "I paid for it with my competition money. Every piece of furniture, the paint, the nook, all of it came from prizes I won. So it's not really something that can just be reassigned." Diane stared at her. "Competition money? You're 11. How much could that possibly be?" Lily did not answer the question directly. Instead, she walked to the trophy cabinet and opened the glass door. She pointed to the awards on the top shelf. "These are from nationals," she said. Each one came with a payout. The cabinet itself cost $400. The reading nook cost $1,200. The furniture was another $2,000. I have receipts for all of it in a folder in my desk. She closed the cabinet door and turned back to the room. "Your kids can't even keep their beds made," she added without any cruelty in her tone. It was simply a fact, stated plainly. "This room stays the way it is because I built it." Nobody spoke for a long moment. Diane's face went through several stages in the span of about 10 seconds. Shock first. Then embarrassment. Then something close to anger, though she seemed to swallow it before it fully formed. She looked at me as if expecting me to intervene or contradict what Lily had just said. I shook my head slightly. There was nothing to contradict. My mother was the first to break the silence. She stepped closer to the trophy cabinet and looked at the awards inside. "How many of these are national titles?" she asked Lily. "4," Lily said. "And 6 regional golds." My mother turned to me and I could see on her face that she was recalculating something. She had known Lily competed. She had seen the occasional trophy on a shelf. But she had never seen them all together, and she had never heard the full scope of what Lily had accomplished laid out so clearly. One of my cousins pulled out her phone. "Wait," she said. "National Junior Gymnastics Champion? What's your full name? I want to look this up." Lily told her. My cousin typed it in. Within 30 seconds she pulled up a Gymnastics Federation database with Lily's competition history. Every event, every placement, every score. It was all public record. "She's not kidding," my cousin said, turning the screen toward the group. 4 national titles. Multiple podium finishes. This is legitimate. Diane looked at the phone screen. Then she looked at Lily. Then she looked at me again. "I didn't know," she said, and for once her voice was not loud. The rest of the afternoon passed without incident. Diane did not bring up the room again. Her kids, who had been running through the house with little interest in anything, eventually wandered into Lily's room on their own and spent 20 minutes looking at the trophies and asking Lily about her competitions. She answered their questions patiently and kindly, as she always does with younger kids. When Diane and her family left that evening, she paused at the door. She did not apologize. She is not the kind of person who does that easily, and I did not expect her to. But she looked at me and said quietly, "I didn't realize she was serious about it." I nodded. "She's been serious about it for 5 years, I said. Diane held my gaze for a moment, then turned and walked to the car, where her husband and kids were already waiting. In the days that followed, things shifted in small ways. My mother called me the next morning and asked for more details about Lily's competition schedule. He wanted to come to the next one. She sounded different on the phone. Quieter than usual. The way people sound when they realize they have been missing something important for a long time and are trying to figure out how. My cousin shared the Gymnastics Federation link with several other family members. And by midweek, a small group chat had formed where people were asking about upcoming events and travel logistics. Someone even looked into purchasing a banner to hold up at the next competition. It was, in its own way, a small and late awakening, but it was genuine. Diane texted me once. A short message that simply said, "Can you send me her competition schedule? I want to bring the kids to watch." There was no apology attached and no explanation for why she had never asked before. I did not expect either. Diane processes things slowly and she does it privately. But the fact that she reached out at all told me something had shifted for her. She had seen something that Saturday afternoon that she could not unsee, and she was trying in her own limited way to adjust. I sent it to her without comment. Lily, for her part, did not change at all. She went to practice the next morning at her usual time. She came home, ate dinner, and worked on a school project at her desk. When I told her that Diane wanted to come to her next competition, she shrugged and said, "That's fine. But she has to actually watch this time, not just stand in the lobby." I laughed. It was the closest thing to a dig she has ever made, and even then, it was delivered with a small smile rather than any real edge. That is who my daughter is. She does not need people to believe in her before she moves forward. She does not need approval to keep going. She earns what she has, builds what she wants, and lets the work speak for itself. There is something rare in a child like that. Something most adults spend years trying to develop and never quite manage. A quiet, unshakable confidence that does not depend on how others see her. It is not arrogance. It is simply a girl who has learned through years of early mornings, hard losses, and harder wins, that the only opinion that truly matters on any given day is her own. And on that particular Saturday afternoon, in that particular room, it spoke louder than anything Diane could have said. The trophy cabinet is still there. She added one more award to it last week. A gold medal from a regional qualifier she won by the largest margin of the year. She did not mention it at dinner. She simply placed it on the shelf in the room she designed and went back to her homework.